Up next we have Maisy, talking about how to get better. Yeah, thank you so much. Go for Maisy.
Hi everybody, can you all hear me okay? Yes. Okay, good. So thank you so much for coming out today and taking your time out of your Saturday. I'm sure you all have a few better things to do than listen to me talk. And thanks so much to Janine and the rest of the Women Techmakers crew for having me. For those who don't know me, I'm Maisy Sinclair and I'm a software engineer at Apex Fintech Solutions in Belfast. So I have been in the tech industry for about 6 years now. My first 4 years, I actually did an apprenticeship with PwC. It was like a digital partnership where I studied software engineering at Queen's and then did business placements in PwC for about 1.5 years. Recently, I got a promotion at Apex, which I'm, all biz about. And this has really encouraged me to look back on my career journey so far and just kind of be proud of where I've come from and see how I've got to where I am so far in my short journey. So, like I touched on, I did a higher apprenticeship, and this stat here is from the Higher Level Apprenticeship Association of Northern Ireland, which states that 92% of tech degree apprentices were required to be in office during their initial developmental phases of their degree. And unfortunately, myself and I'm sure a few other people here, we were really badly impacted by the pandemic during our university course content. So this 92% of time was actually 0% for me. I maybe was in the office for about 10 weeks of placement, actually than the 1.5 years that I should have been, which is really annoying. And of course, there was me panicking, thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to do well, I'm going to fall behind, and not even knowing how to progress technically. I wasn't sure how I was going to move on and just get the general business things, like what do you wear into the office, like where's the nearest coffee machine, like what am I going to do and how am I going to get through this? So this led me to think of a new way of learning and adopt a few new tools along the way. So I've created a list of 10 different tools here, and my wee icons kind of show the data storytelling, what Katie was saying. I have some technical tools, I have some organizational tools, and I have some general well-being and mental health tools, because it's all about the holistic journey and the whole full picture of the developer and the person, rather than just the technical skills. You need to have the full package, and you really need to go for it and consider everything. So let's get into it. My first tool then, is my clicker, is called VS Code Pets. So don't get too ahead of yourself. This does not actually aid you very much technically, even though there is VS Code in the name. It sounds really cool, but it's really not. So all it is a little pet that runs around your developer's IDE. You can feed it, you can give it a few wee treats, you can watch it sleep, a bit of like the Nintendo dog era, if anybody ever played that. Just leaving their Nintendo dogs to rot while we're all sitting here in this room. So yeah, as long as this tool really isn't, like I said, going to impact you technically, but what it can do is, for me personally, it really helped me be curious and look at the different tools that were available in my IDE and gain a bit of confidence looking, oh, what can I use here? What can I plug in that's going to help me and is going to get better, make me get better once I'm working remotely or even if I'm in the office. So this tool is good, all jokes aside, if you're maybe running tests, and tests can take a long time to build, and it can help you to keep in your flow of working so you're not picking up your phone and getting distracted. So this tool is free if anybody is interested, and there is a few paid versions, which of course for the research purposes of this talk I had to look into. So this is my dog Popsy. She looks really cute, but she's actually a terror. So what I paid £3.19 for was this, which is the pixelated version of my pet that goes in my IDE. And my mum is here today, and I can just see the look of disappointment on her face. This is what I've spent my hard-earned salary on. So sorry, Mum. But yeah, a great tool to get started if you're a newbie and really get that confidence going. So the next tool that we have is workflowy. So for those who do know me and work with me daily, they know that I'm an absolute control freak and I need everything lined out in front of me. I need my to-do list, I need color coding, I need everything working nicely, and workflowy is great for that. So here's a sample workflowy that I put together for the purposes of today. And it's really good because you can separate all your little lists and all your knowledge and content into different swim lanes. So as you can see, I have a wee sample Women in Tech Makers to-do list, picking my nicest photo for Popsy today. And then I have an example where I use a weekly engineering tracker to track exactly what I've done engineering-wise that week, and track any tools that I'm using, any tech I'm using, and kind of where I've focused my time so I can look back on that. And because I've got this, I can then directly align this with my goals. I'm sure you can all relate when you come to your mid-year reviews or your end-of-year reviews and you actually sit there and think, what actually have I done? What am I going to talk about and raffle on about? But here you can just line that up directly, then link it to your team goals and your company OKRs as well. So next, the next tool we have is Miro. So when you have workflowy, that's more like personal organization and just organizing your whole life as a whole. Whereas Miro is a really great tool, similar kind of style. It's like a canvas, but it's more for your tech diagrams. So here's an example of Miro. Yeah, you can see the video playing there. So Miro is great for making mind maps or to draw up the architecture diagrams of a service or the flow of your data. You can really map it well. Miro has a great tool called generative AI. And what it does is, like you can see here, you can put in a prompt to the mind map and you can ask Miro's AI assistant to generate topics, ideas, or questions on anything, and it will just spit it out for you. You can see I'm talking a bit faster than the diagram's going, but it will spit out some really good results. And it can really help you if you ever get in a mental block or you're not sure where to go next, and give you a few new ideas and kind of logic for a new service. Personally, as a junior developer, I found this really useful, coming out of really heavy design meetings where your head is just fried, speaking maybe hours upon end about how to structure a service and how to design it as a whole. This is really good. You can just take yourself away to a corner of the office, draw up what you've got from that conversation, and then you can bring it back to your more senior developers and say, have I learnt this right? Is this right? And really cement your understanding of the service that you're about to create. The next tool then is Promoter X. So for all the developers in the room, I'm sure you've seen all the movies where everybody is like hacking like mad and it's all really cool. And then if you're ever watching it with your friends and they know you work in IT, they're like, oh, like, do you do that? Like, is this what your job is? And it's never the case. Promoter X is really good for making you feel like that. So like I said, starting in the pandemic, I didn't have these senior engineers sitting beside me. So I didn't have somebody when I was clicking through my IDE trying to find things to use saying, oh, Maisy, instead of taking loads of time clicking through this, why don't you just hit command whatever letters on the keyboard and it'll do it all for you. So this is really good. Promoter X will give you these shortcuts right at the bottom of your screen and it'll prompt you and remind you to use them. Now, I do have it snoozed at the minute on my laptop, I will admit, because it does get a wee bit annoying, but it's really useful when you do need to learn these tricks. And also then it can give you some stats on what shortcuts you use the most, and it can kind of give you an idea of how you program and how you can best be more productive in your working. And next then. Next tool then, Rainbow Brackets. Kind of the same idea as Promoter. It's really focusing on honing in your technical skills. I recently went on an Instill course for software best practices and this tool was mentioned. All it is color coding your brackets. It is what it says in the tin, but it's really, really useful if you're working with heavily nested code or code that just is really difficult to read, for example, SQL scripts. All it is it just color codes the brackets, as you can see here, lines it up all nicely, and it actually highlights the current scope that you're in as well, and shows you exactly where your code is going to reach. Again, me with my colours, I absolutely love this because you can decide exactly what shades of colours you want. Mine are all completely pink and Barbied out, which is great for me. But yeah, another really good tool to help you focus on your code quality, which is really important as a developer. As you're moving up in your journey, you need to focus on your code quality, making sure that you can pass it on to somebody else, making sure it's readable, and taking good ownership of your programming and that it's up to standard. Next tool then, everybody's like, wow, AI, Copilot. Yeah, this has probably been talked about so much today, but I think there is some aspects of Copilot that actually go quite unnoticed. So, of course, you have the, Copilot. Let's see how we use it. It'll give you spit out boilerplate code. And it's really useful for me personally. I actually switched teams during my time at Apex, and I was using complete new languages, complete new repos, and I wasn't used to the way of working. Copilot was really useful for reminding me, oh, this is how you do this is the fundamentals of this language, and just giving you that reminder. Same for writing unit tests. It's really good if you've just been back-end programming the whole time and you're thinking, how do I actually test this? How is this going to work and work properly? It saves you a lot of time that way. The best feature, I think, though, for Copilot, yes, you can use it with your IDE like that, but I think the functionality on the GitHub UI itself is the best part of it. So here we have two examples. On the left here, you can see for your PRs, Copilot can actually be added as a reviewer, and it's really, really useful. I'm sure you've all been there. If you're submitting code and maybe it's on a new project and you're not too sure of it, it can be daunting for other people coming in and tearing it apart. Whereas if you add Copilot as a reviewer, it doesn't bruise your ego as much because it's just a bot. But yeah, they'll give you some useful tips and tricks and things that you can note and change before you actually pass it on to your more senior developer. Also then on this side, if a senior developer is asking you, a more junior developer, to review their code, and you're not sure, why am I reviewing your code when you're actually teaching me how to do this, you can then ask Copilot any questions about the files they've submitted, and you can really make yourself sound cool then when you're doing your reviews and give some good input. So that's Copilot. The next tool then is Postman. So show of hands, I'm sure there's a lot of people here who has used Postman before. Yeah, so this is a pretty familiar tool, but there are quite a few features that Postman doesn't show off very well that you can use. So for those who don't know, Postman is a tool that allows you to hit your different endpoints of your service and test that they're working as expected. But a tool that I really like within Postman is its data visualization. So I'm sure you can relate if you're a back-end developer, you're going to do your demos and you've spent a lot of time programming, and then you go and show your more senior stakeholders and people who aren't used to the technical day-to-day stuff, and all they're seeing is boring JSON, and they're like, this is what you spent 4 sprints working on just to produce this random words. This is where the data visualization comes in really well. So here you can see that you've hit this response here, you've hit this endpoint here in Postman, and it's given a bar chart response. You can customize this to different pie charts, or you can even just prettify the JSON so it looks better if it is the information that is important and you need to show. Another tool then within Postman that isn't widely known is Postman Flows. So this is really, really good for showing your full end-to-end structure of your system. You can see here, you can plug in your request, you can show the different endpoints, show the request being hit, and then you can show the metrics of what's happening, exactly how long the latency is taking, and then you can breed it into your response, your visualizations, and different connectivity percentages as well. So this is also a really good flow, and it's good to show the stakeholders, to show them the actual amount of work you have done, and it doesn't give the UI teams all the credit in the demos. You can show off what you're doing yourself. Okay, then next, pointer is... Okay, so now that we've got to this point in the career journey, you know, we are confident in using our tools and exploring different tools. We've gained independence in our code, PRs, and more technical and organisational advancements. This is the point then we need to focus on exposing ourselves and showing off the type of people we are and really hitting home for things that we can do to move up to the next level. So the next tool for this is Zoom Clips. And for the purposes of showing this tool, I've pre-recorded myself on Zoom Clips talking about it. So I'm just going to cringe over here in the corner listening to my own voice as this video hopefully plays.
Hi everyone, so this is Maisy talking about Zoom Clips on the tool itself. So now that we've got to this point in the journey, we want to focus on exposure and how we can show up the good work that we've done as developers to our clients and stakeholders. So Zoom Clips is a fantastic tool for doing that because you have a 2-minute count and you basically have to make sure all your information is concise and demoable in this window. Humans actually only have on average an 8 to 12 a second attention span with up to 20 minutes of full engagement on a single topic. And with all the movement to short length content like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, it's really important that we get to the point of our demos so people can really engage and understand what we're talking about. So Zoom Clips also removes the pain of a live demo and the stress of things going wrong on the day with your demoing to important people and you want to show off the hard work that you've done. So this way, you have your demo pre-recorded and you don't have to have any worries. It also removes the issue of trying to find a third-party tool or software to script, record, grade, make sure that you're feeling in it and the kind of updated meeting and try to record that. So you can see that all the way, makes it really accessible, just like I'm doing now.
Can I just add, I'm not trying to sell any of these tools. This does sound like a paid promotion, and anybody is from Zoom here, I will take your money for that because that's great. So yeah, we've got to the exposure part, and Zoom Clips is great for showing off. Like I said, it's only 2 minutes, so it forces you to be concise with your ideas. The next tool then is Brainscape. So I was actually talking to a few colleagues earlier in the week about my talk, and the title of the talk is Newbie to Next Level. And somebody asked me, so Maisy, when do you get to the next level? And the short answer is you don't. That's the sad part of this talk. Yes, you can move up the ranks, you can get promoted, can become experts in things, but the tech landscape is constantly evolving and we need to constantly evolve as well. So yes, we get to the end of the cycle, we're exposed, we're showing ourselves off, but then we need to come back down to the basics and start learning again. So Brainscape is a fantastic tool for this. So what Brainscape is a flashcard tool. So I have used it myself when doing the Google Associate Cloud Engineering exam. I built up a backlog of about 180 flashcards and challenged myself and learned the questions off rather than reading through the book because I find that a really difficult way of learning. But Brainscape has a fantastic optimized space repetition algorithm which basically tracks how quickly you can answer a question and then calculates how many times you need to be asked that question until you have full confidence and you have learnt this off. It's really good because then you don't need to just keep going through your flashcard deck in the same order every time. It'll focus on the areas that you're actually not as confident in, which is fantastic. Finally then, the last tool of the day is Calm. So this is just the wee UI then for Calm on your phone, if anybody hasn't used it before. I'm lucky that Apex actually empowers us to use this. It's part of our mental health incentives. And it's a really, really good tool. You can do lots of different things on it. You can do sleep stories, you can do meditations, daily moves. I did a little 2-minute meditation before I came on here to try and calm my nerves. But it's a really good tool and really helps you to wind down at the end of the day. And like the whole point of this talk is reflect on your journey, reflect where you've come from, and just keep going from there. So, 10 tools, and it shaped my career in 4 ways. So the first way, if my animation is going to work, is comfort and confidence. So you need to be comfortable in using these tools. There's no point coming to this talk and going away and not actually trying. I'm going to force you all at the end to pick one of these and put it into your routine on Monday, because it's so important. We need to focus on what we can do now. Yes, this talk is about impacting the future, but the future is only impacted by the present, and it's really important to just pick it up, be confident, and go for it. Number 2, organisational and technical advancement. It's so important, and I think the women here in tech can agree. Women tend to be more naturally organised, but sometimes you can let yourself down, and it's important to put the effort into being organised to help your future self get through things and keep on track. And same with your technical advancements. That Key Promoter X tool, it might seem like a bit of a faff, making you feel like a bit more like a hacker, but that shortcut's going to come through every day, constantly remind you of different technical things that you can input in your daily routine, and it will gradually improve how you work. Number 3, independence and continuous learning. Independence is so important as a developer to move up the ranks. You'll always see it in all your career frameworks and trackers. You need to be independent in creating your tech and in your team as well, so you can give your team good code reviews and know what you're talking about. And finally, reflection and continuous improvement. Like I said, this is a constant cycle. The tech landscape is always changing. We need to change with it and continuously improve how we work. So here's our 10 tools. So take a screenshot, take a photo, and maybe you've used all these tools before. Class, this was absolutely useless for you then. But maybe go explore different ways you could use them. If you have your own tools that you use, please reach out to me in LinkedIn and share them. I'll share it with the slides here today. But yeah, please really empower yourself to go and try one of them. Even if you aren't a day-to-day developer, or you're still in uni, or you're even the director of engineering, go and choose one of these. You can definitely change your lifestyle, and just reflect on your own journey and what you can do to improve it. So yeah, that's me. Anybody have any questions?
Questions? No? None? Oh yeah, okay. I don't want to walk right in front of the camera.
Not too many questions, please.
So these are really cool tools built by other people, but of course you're a developer. Have you built any of your own tools?
No. I have not. No, you maybe giving me an idea for my next talk then. No, but I've planned to use loads of tools, and maybe one day in the future I will build my own tool. Great idea, thanks.
Sorry, I'm hustling. Anybody, anything up here? Anybody want to say hello? Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah, okay, I read that. I definitely wish I'd had that Key Promoter when I changed from a Windows to Mac, because I was all whizzy and knew everything. And then felt like I'd never touched a computer before, and every line of code took longer.
Great talk, really enjoyed it. My question is just, you have a very unique perspective as someone who joined during a pandemic. Do you have any advice for like senior people or management or anything that could have helped your progression?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good point. This talk is for everybody. It doesn't matter what stage you are in your career. I think the best point is to reflect at all times. So it's so easy when you have got to a certain level, oh, I've got here now, I don't need to do anything else. That's where you reach tool 8 and you're at Zoom clips, you're exposing yourself, you've got to that point, you need to go back, you need to pick a topic to learn from and constantly reflect and move forward. And I think that's the only way we're going to improve, is you have to be humble and keep thinking, what can I do better next? You might be the best UI developer, okay, what skill can you pick up next and become good at? So yeah, really good question, thank you.
Thank you. There's one somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you, that was really interesting. I wanted to ask, these tools, where did you come across them? Was it from a variety of different places? Was it fellow team members? Some of them I've come across myself, a lot of them are recommendations, so I wanted to know, like, where do you go for the next tool that you might bring into your workflow?
Yeah, so like you said, variety of different ways that you can come through this. At the beginning stages, I actually was just going through my IDE, changing all the settings like you do, light mode, dark mode, going through all that. And then I came across the plugins feature, and that's where I found Key Promoter X, Rainbow Brackets, and the Pets one. So it's a really good place to start. Go through the marketplace and have a look and read the descriptions to see what might work for you. Everybody's different. And then, yeah, I'm lucky to work in a company where they empower us to use different tools like Copilot and Cam. So I think that's a really good point. You know, find a place that encourages you to do this. Apex is hiring, by the way, if anybody's interested.
Cool. Did I miss any others? No? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.